Alright everybody, welcome to vlog number 1. I've been wanting to vlog for a very long time for many different reasons. Well, you'll get to know what those reasons are as time goes on. Unfortunately, I don't have the time right now to talk about everything, so we're going to have to get moving. And I'll explain to you why we're always on the run and what it is that we have to do today. Alright, so it's the day before we're going to Grenada. Can't wait. 8:30 tomorrow morning, I'll be on the plane. But I'm running around trying to get everything done. And as always, it's the last minute rush to get everything done, to get it done properly, and hope you remember everything, because that's not always easy. Alright, so how did this happen? Why am I doing everything the last minute? Because as usual, I'm busy doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, always on the run. That's the title of this vlog, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I love being busy. I love being adventurous and having fun, meeting new people, trying new things, learning new things. This is all good stuff, but it takes time. And unfortunately for that reason, you got to prioritize. I mean, you can't get the fun in if you're not out there having fun, but you got to get the work done too, and prepping for a trip is usually going to be last minute. So to understand how I'm in this position today, we're going to have to go back 3 weeks. So 3 weeks ago, I just finished up a work week, rolling into a Saturday, Sunday. On Saturday, I was prepping the race car so I could bring it out to Ohio to test and tune with Matt Brandenburg. Sunday, I loaded the trailer up with the race car. I took the Jeep out, and we took it all the way out to Ohio. It was a 10.5-hour trip out there. Now, I prefer to do most of my traveling at night because there's no traffic, it's easier to navigate the streets, and there's less distraction. I can relax, listen to my music, and get things done. But this trip was kind of long, and we pushed. I drove out there in one trip, didn't really make any stops other than getting fuel, and I got 6 hours of sleep before we started on Monday morning, and I had a great time meeting the guys. Really good guys, very knowledgeable, taught me a lot of stuff, had a lot of fun, got to really push the car and dial it in. I wish it was running this good when we were racing out in STPR in Pennsylvania in May. If it was, I would have been a lot happier. But anyway, STPR was a good event. It's going to be even better next year because I'm more prepared. I have a little bit more information and have an idea how I really want to run the car now. Now, the trip home from Ohio was a little bit more excitement than I wanted. I looked at my display on the car. It said 100 miles to empty. Now, who's intimidated by 100 miles to empty? So I'm traveling out to the Pennsylvania Turnpike, which from what I remember had gas stations all over the place, so I wasn't too concerned. By the time I got to the Pennsylvania Turnpike, it said 60 miles to empty. Now, I try and have the most efficient ride home as possible. I don't want to stop at the gas station 10 times if it's only going to really take me 6 times. So I try and stretch it within reason without taking too many chances. I try and stretch it out a little bit so that my stops are reduced, minimum. I don't want to do it all night. So I get on the Pennsylvania Turnpike at 60 miles to empty, and I'm cruising, and I don't see any gas stations anywhere. Now I'm starting to get a little nervous. I'm like, oh boy, what's going to happen now if I don't see a gas station soon? One's got to be popping up. But I'm not that familiar with the area to know for sure. So there was always a little bit of intimidation there. Now I'm looking, and I'm getting really low on gas. It gets to the point where it says 35 miles to empty. After that, it just says low. It doesn't tell me play by play how many miles I have left. Other cars that I've owned would tell you right down to 0, but then after 0, you usually have a little bit more mileage left anyway. But you get familiar with the car, and you kind of see, how much you could push and what you can do. I've never ran out of gas before on the highway. Never in my life. I've come close a few times, but that was a risk that I knew I was taking. I wasn't surprised here. In this particular situation, I was caught by surprise. It went to low. I knew I had 35 miles. I ran through my 35 miles. I still had no gas station in sight. Now the Pennsylvania Turnpike is under construction, so there's areas where there's no shoulder. The hills are pretty dramatic. Every time you go up a steep incline, the fuel economy goes down, so you're burning fuel like an aircraft. I mean, dumping fuel, especially trailing a race car in the back. Fuel economy, non-existent. So I'm starting to get worried. If I run out of gas going uphill with these semis behind me, tractor trailers whizzing by, it's not going to be good. So I know we're going to get to a gas station soon. I've never ran out of gas. I'm not worried, but I'm starting to get a little concerned. And what happens? I run out of gas. But thank God that there was a shoulder. Yep, this is a little sketchy. Everything's black. There's no street lights. It's really dark. Trucks are whizzing by. Before, the trucks were whizzing by, like side by side in both lanes. Pretty scary. How am I going to get out of this? This is where it gets a little sketchy. Well, I was prepared. I had a headlamp, and I wore the headlamp, and that helped me see what was going on. I took 2 of my LED lamps, I hung them off the back of the race car. I opened the trunk, which is where I stored the fuel, and I had 4 cans of fuel in there. So it was an easy fix. It was just easiest for me to use a bottle of race fuel and a bottle of pump gas. I dumped those into the Jeep, but the conditions were kind of sketchy because I'm on the side of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. The only light is the lights that's thrown off from my Jeep, just the tail lights flashing with the 4-ways and the LED lights off of the back of the race car. Hopefully these guys could see me, but I didn't know for sure. So I was trying to get this done as quickly as possible. It was pretty sketchy because these things are whizzing by, and I don't know if these guys are distracted, if they're sleepy, if they see me, if they care. I don't know. You don't know who's driving in those other cars, and that's what's the most intimidating, because you don't know if they're really paying attention, and you don't know if they really care. Quite a few people did pull over for me into the far lane to give me some room, which was very nice, very courteous, and I appreciate that. But some people weren't able to. They were side by side with another vehicle. They couldn't give me that courtesy, and I felt the suction of the semi whizzing behind me. Not like it was going to pull me out into the highway, but enough to know that they were close, and it wasn't a fun thought, I could tell you that for sure. But we got it done. I fueled it up, and we got back on the road, and then 3 miles later, 3 miles, I get into a gas station. Only I could be traveling 60 miles looking for a gas station, run out of gas 3 miles before the only Sunoco on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and have to deal with that crowd. Well, at least I'm here now. I'm filling up. I don't have semis whizzing behind me trying to kill me, but it is what it is. See how many gallons it's going to take. Going to take them all. Topping off. After that, I'm topping off. Wasn't going to top off on the side of the highway with all that nonsense. That was pretty sick. That's funny. That's funny. 3 miles. But anyway, when I went inside and I spoke to the lady that was working behind the counter, and I said, I just drove 60 miles, couldn't find a gas station. Where is the closest gas station coming from my direction? And she says it's about an hour away. So that's roughly 60 miles. I must have got on right after the last gas station and, lucked out by running out of gas 3 miles before the next gas station. But she also told me that truckers and other people that were driving on the highway have complained to her in the past, saying that some of the gas stations that were on the turnpike aren't even open at that hour. So who knows? 60 miles back, who knows if that gas station was even open? My luck, probably not. But in any event, it really didn't make much of a difference for me, because what happened. So always an adventure, and that's all I can say. That was pretty sick. But we're on our way soon. When we were done, I had to run back to Jersey and prepare to film Rich Blackburn and Monster Medic. So we had a good time filming Monster Medic. It worked out really good. We got a lot of good footage, had a great time, and that was on Saturday night. Sunday was cleanup, resting, getting everything together to prepare for my work week on Monday. and Monday rolled into 2 weeks of working 133 hours in the rain, outside, inside, all over the place. Pretty tiring. Didn't have a chance to recover from my trip out to Ohio. Didn't have a chance to recover from the long day in the sun filming at Raceway Park in Englishtown. And I work in the city, so in the 5 boroughs, it's very demanding. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of people, a lot of attitude, and these things also drain you. So I just finished up working late last night. Now today is Saturday, and it's my only day to get stuff done before I have to jump on the plane early tomorrow morning. I can't wait for this trip. I mean, we're always running and doing things on vacation too, scuba diving and having fun, but it's far more relaxing than what we do every day, run around going to work. Obviously, otherwise we wouldn't call it vacation. I'm not one of those people that likes to go on vacation with this long itinerary. Okay, stop number 1 is done. Time to move on, get to the next one. Alright, stop number 2 done. So Grenada is going to be a good time. That'll be in my next vlog. You'll check that out for sure.